Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi. Let me go live on. Hi. Say hi. Hi. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay, let me go live on Instagram. Hi. 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 How's your week going? Okay, let me say magandang umaga, Joe. That's good morning. Okay, let me say hi to everybody first. Robin, Leah, Reg, Angel Star, A Brown, Linux, Sarah, MLB, AGL, Banguna, Cindy, OSP, Joe, BTS Eden, Robin, Reg Elaine, Sabrine, Cindy, Shelling, Kathleen, Lorena, Sylvia, Helena, Rachel, Carol. Oh, um, Lorena is on Twitch. Is anybody else on Twitch? Okay, I think that's it. Those are the ones that are on. Sam, did I say? Oh, Sarah. I thought I saw Sam. D. Garcia, Jubilee, Arlies, Celeste also on Twitch. Okay, Audrey from Sydney. Dodger Girl also on Twitch. Taryn, good morning everyone. Well, good afternoon. And then my dog, say hi, baby. Show your cute face. His fur is already long. I need to get it. I need to get him groomed. Say hi. Hi. Okay, how's everyone? Um, so Alta, hello Alta. Hello Joy. Okay, anybody going to the concert of Les Seraphim? Let's check their Ticketmaster because I was looking at, so they're in Newark today, and yesterday they are, let's see here. So they're in Prudential today, and several days ago it was already sold out, and then they released extra tickets, the limited view tickets, and so there were some more tickets. I don't know if what they're gonna usually sit there. So if you look at, oh wait, I'll show you the screen. Let me show you Ticketmaster. So if you zoom in on all of that, it would be like resale. And then this part, they just released. This is new. Yesterday it wasn't there. So this, but all of that, they just released it. So I don't know if they're gonna declare it sold out, but that's a new release. So let's see what's gonna happen. So they're gonna be performing today at 7:30. If anybody's watching, please take a picture of the crowd. Hi, Amy. No, we're just. I'm just showing them. We can take a look at Baby Monster. Was so. It was like So they. Oh my god! It was like, it was really sad because they. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure they. Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm trying to get to. I'm sure they had a good time. It's just that virtually no one was sitting on the audience, and they had everybody move down on the floor. So let's see what's gonna, because they had like a lot. I don't know why Yang Yun Sor actually forced this, but look at this. Share. Okay, I'll share it with you. Here's Baby Monster. I mean, if you zoom in, it's like, so what they did yesterday for I think they were in Illinois. They had everybody move to the floor, so the everything was all of this would be vacant. So there was nobody sitting in the lower box and everything else. So everyone was just on the floor. They just moved everybody on the floor. Okay, who are we talking about? So first was this is Baby Monster, and then the first one was LE SSERAFIM. Okay, we need to keep going. Okay, um, poor kids. I know, but they seem to have had a good time yesterday. Let me just adjust my water here. Okay, they seem to be. Someone forwarded me a video, and it was just like all of everybody was on the floor, so they moved everybody, and then all the seats were vacant. So I was just thinking like that's not very good for the morale of the artist. They should have just canceled it. But I don't know. Maybe it's also for experience. You know, maybe subjecting, allowing the girls to actually go through such an experience is going to make them better as performers. So um, let's see. I think the reason he decided to extend the North American tour was the good reception that they got in New York and Los Angeles the first time. But maybe that's because initially there was no other venue. It was just those two, and so people were willing to fly over there to see them, and then they decided to tour the rest of the U.S. and it was just like you know. So anyway, it was too early for a tour like this for them. A little too early, yeah. Although they are on their second year already. So yeah, it is still a little too early, but you do have to understand that Yang Sok is on a hurry because the girls, Blackpink, as you know, probably by now that they didn't renew their contract for their individual contracts with YG Entertainment. They were going to lose their IP. He didn't have a choice. So as I've discussed, oh, I think I discussed this in a separate, probably, I think I discussed this either in this live stream or in the members only live stream, that one of the biggest mistakes that they made that Yang Yun Suk that happened to Yang Yun Suk or he made was that he lost the IP, his biggest IP, which was Blackpink, because the girls are just concentrated. I think they just want to get through this tour and then just pursue individual activities. It's going to take a while before they do a reunion. So, the venue capacity of Baby Monster. So it's about 17,000. 17,000. I think it's better to put on a show for a fans who came. Maybe that's the thinking, yeah. Um, what's the so maybe that is what he was thinking. Like just fans came. This is our chance to show that we're gonna put on a show no matter what. So maybe that's that there is nothing shameful in doing smaller venues. I know. That's also why I was wondering why he decided. I think the way Le SSERAFIM did it was very strategic. So their venue for New York, San Francisco, LA are big ones, meaning arenas. So they're like almost 20,000 each. And then for the smaller states, minors, not smaller states, but minor markets like Texas, they did theaters, which was I thought that was a better like it was a better approach because then it's easier to fill and they sold it out. The venues are sold out now for those smaller venues, and I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. So I think that was a better approach to do it smaller for the minor markets and then just go bigger for the major markets. Maybe that would have been a better approach. Okay, amazing for a new is yeah, they're still I think that is the reason they decided to extend the North American leg because the reception for New York and for LA it was really good. So okay. Let's do news and updates. Where is that? Let's do something light. Oh, okay. So I was actually, as I was saying, um, where is that? Okay. Let's do news. Fearling, you're ahead of the curve. GMA mentioned that OST of KDH was the first time in 24 years that a three-member girl group was at the top of the charts. We are in the know. um, the bad thing is some want to skip the middle steps and jump right to the part of doing what BTS do. BTS started small, it was not overnight. Um, I think part of it is the knowledge that K-pop is already big, maybe, like because BTS already paved the way. They introduced K-pop to the world, so to a lot of people, they feel that that's sort of enough. That's the start that they didn't have to do because BTS did it for them, if that makes sense. So I think that's part of it. That's why people are a lot of agencies feel confident doing more sooner because BTS already paved the way. So um, yeah, they did a lot of the hard work introducing K-pop into the world. So okay, let's do news and updates first. Something light, just to get us through. So as I was mentioning for Le Seraphim, limited view seating was actually released very late. So as you can see, this was screen cap last night. So as you can see there, there's only that limited view that's available, and this was recently released. I think they were just like maybe there's still demand, so might as well release them. I don't know. Usually, I don't know if they're gonna declare that a sold out, but regardless, it's still very good reception. So congratulations to them. So this is going to be tonight, and then for Chicago, there are as of last night, there are 13 standards ticket left tickets. 13 standard tickets left. The rest are resale. So let's see. Usually they would already declare this is sold out. For Texas, this is what I was talking about. They decided for the main minor markets, they decided to do smaller venues. Um, so so for Texas, that's sold out. Everything that you see are resale. So sold out for Texas. San Francisco is already sold out. So this is a the capacities I think is the capacity is 18,600 I think for this venue. So sold out. Everything that you see are resale. And then for Washington, this is the one which has most of they have a lot of vacant tickets left, available ticket not vacant, available tickets left. It's about 200 based on my count. This is just based off Ticketmaster. Okay. So it's and most are on the third level. Okay. And this is also a big venue, I think about 18.6 or about almost 20,000. For Las Vegas, which is also an arena, it's completely sold out. So, I mean, there you can see some verified resale, but the resale is, oh my gosh, it's like 800, 900, and something. So Yoonjin, as you know, is a huge BTS fan. And so back in 2017, he went to watch BTS in Prudential for their concert. And she decided to sit. So while rehearsing, I guess after rehearsal, she sat in the exact same spot where she sat when she watched BTS have their concert there back in 2017. And so it was like a full circle moment for her. Um, and she said she cried, and I thought it was like a great, it is a full. Even for me, I'm not the person who's actually involved in the entire thing, but I thought it was like a triumph after everything she has been through. I don't know if you watched um, the reality show she participated in, Produce 101, but she was like one of the most frustrating elimination in the contest because she was really one of the most talented. And I don't know why. I don't know. She was not kept. She was eliminated, I think, in the fourth round or something. Even though she's actually one of the strongest candidates. So it was in that same contest where Sakura and Chewon actually managed to get into the final lineup, but she was eliminated. And then, as you know, she moved from one. I think she trained in SM for a while, even, and then she moved to Big Hit. Well, she moved to Source Music, and then for a while she was actually training with the New Jeans group. The trainees, the group of trainees for New Jeans. I think for a while she was training there, And then she was one of the people that, allegedly, one of the people that Bin Hee-jin actually eliminated from the group, dropped from the group. And so that's when she returned to the US to just study. She got into Harvard, already paid her tuition, and that's where she got the call from Big Hit to actually come back and give it another try. And thank God she did. So it was like a nice thing for her to come back to the same venue where where her dream was actually nurtured, watching BTS perform. So congratulations to her. Um, Yoon Jin was in the top 12 at some point in Produce 48. She almost made it. That would have never worked. MHJ doesn't want this. uh, yeah, I think what MHJ, her preference for group members, MHJ's preference for group members aren't really people that would stand out but sort of blend in. So, and in that group, and you can actually see now that she doesn't belong to that group. That's not her group. I mean, maybe 2020. I mean, hindsight is always 2020. But if you look at it now, Yoonjin would be such a she would be so different from the five girls. So, and she wouldn't have the opportunity to nurture her talent the way that they are nurturing her now in Source Music. Because right now she's being allowed to produce. She's not being allowed, but actually encouraged to produce. She was a major part in the creative direction of their last album. She wouldn't have gotten that opportunity in New Jeans because Min Hee-jin likes taking control of everything, as you know. So I think it was for the best that she didn't participate in. She didn't make it into the final lineup. It was, like just like her song, it was a blessing in disguise. Okay, and then highest first day sales of Japan debut singles by fourth and fifth gen K-pop groups, and this is because ILLIT finally, apparently I did not know that they haven't debuted in Japan, but they finally did with Toki Yotomare, and and they're taking Japan by storm. So their fan meeting, their debut showcase plus fan meeting garnered about 300,000 online views, live views on Weavers. So in Japan, so that's a huge thing. So the highest first day sales in Japan is Fearless 132. This is pure sales 132 621, and this is primarily because of Sakura. You know that Sakura is the darling of Japan. So and then IVE is 59,785. It is the third at 34,321. ESPA is 29,580. New Jeans Supernatural is 28,344. The New Jeans Japan number was yeah, I guess, everyone got it wrong. So yeah, so in the beginning they publicized that their initial number was 1.1 million, and then later on it was corrected. So they are fifth for their debut single. So congratulations to ILLIT. They really are. And the new song, I don't know if you've actually watched it already, but the new song, oh my gosh, it's so Japanese coded. I mean, whoever did the A&R for that song, whoever is the creative team behind the group in Japan, just nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. When I listen to the song, I'm God, you can't be more Japanese than this. So you have to, it's really good. So if you want, go ahead and watch it on YouTube. Their initial performance is there, and then you can go to Weverse to watch the entire thing. Their showcase. That is, oh my god. Okay, so Cortis, as you know, they were getting criticized, they were getting humiliated because right after on the first day of the release of their first single, the two first singles, they actually didn't chart inside any kind of chart. So, but they're slowly climbing, and for the first time, September 1, they actually made it. So they are number one in viral songs global in Spotify for September 1. And then for South Korea, they were also number one. So it's their carrier single, "What You Want," that actually made it. So great. Okay. Congratulations to Cortis. And then they gave us, so they did a live stream. This is their second official live stream on Weverse, and they gave us some updates, just what they've been doing, and they also gave us an update about BTS. So apparently, they saw RM and also Jimin in the elevator, and the two members, the two BTS members, actually cheered them on. I was so happy, and I'm like, any kind of crumbs in terms of updates with the members, I'm happy. So they gave us an update. That they said that they saw the two members. I'm not. It's not quite clear if they were together or not. Probably because there's a photo of RM and there's somebody at the side, and it seems like it was Jimin. And they said that the two members supported them greatly, and also they bowed four times in that live stream. So they bowed to the BTS members and specifically bowed to Jungkook because Jungkook mentioned them in his live stream. So they thanked their senior, very very polite boys. So they are reaching their target market. They are, yeah, they're getting there. They're getting there. So I'll be talking about them in detail. So very happy. I hope that you managed to watch their documentary already. So there's four parts, about 19 minutes all in all, but it's worth the watch. I promise you. And then I posted the review on YouTube, so I hope that you can watch that review. But it's worth the watch. It's really different. Okay, and then Golden retained their number one position in Billboard Hot 100, and the three voices behind Golden, EJ, Audrey Nuna, and Ray Ami, will be presenting in the AMAs. Sorry, not AMAs, VMAs, but they probably will be in AMAs and Grammy, as well as Oscars as well. So let's support the three women. They're very very talented. I don't know if you know this, but EJ actually auditioned for several management companies, several labels in South Korea. I think for some of them she actually trained, but eventually didn't make the final lineup. So this is like a full circle moment as well for her, because or maybe not, but this is definitely something better. She's most likely gonna win a Grammy. So um, and maybe an Oscar. So it would be like, and then, as you know, Twice is my favorite girl group, Chaeyoung, which is who is their rapper, the official rapper of the group. She's not really a rapper, and she admits that, but she's designated to rap. But she's actually one of the. She's a great painter. If you check her website, or if you check her IG, she actually paints really. She draws really really well. She draws really really well. So, and her new single, her new album, Lil Fantasy Volume 1, is her debut solo album. And Grammy said it's a must hear release for September. So I hope that you give it um, a listen, because it's really different from all the releases that Twice members have done so far. And this is some of the visuals that she has. Okay. So she's really the most like eclectic in the group. She's very, very different. Very early on, she already was very open about the fact that she doesn't fit the Twice mold. So, am I the only one who hasn't watched K-pop Demon Hunters? I need to get it. In this group, probably you're the only one. Yeah. So they have already surpassed Squid Games as the most consumed movie. No, the most consumed material actually in Netflix. So one of the things that you will notice is in that the number one and number two, which is now KDH, K-pop Demon Hunters, and Squid Games, both are influenced by Korean culture. So that tells you something, that the top two most consumed material in Netflix, both are influenced by Korean. One is made by and for Koreans. Okay, some records, and this would be for, let me get this out of the way. And this would be Stray Kids. So Stray Kids officially earned their biggest Asia. They officially became the biggest Asian act outside of Asia in history in terms of concerts. So with they sold 58,691 tickets each night in Stade de France. I hope I pronounced that correctly. In Paris, July 26 and 27, 2025. So congratulations to them. Also, Cat's Eye, Gabriella actually maintained their position inside. Not maintained, but they actually went up 9 positions in Billboard Hot 100. So Gabriella is on her sixth week inside the chart, and so yeah, congratulations to them. Okay, so and then outside of that, back to Stray Kids, they earned their biggest concert by an Asian act outside of Asia. Okay, so I said that already. So Stade de France, I hope I pronounced that correctly. And then they finally got, so all the venues of Stray Kids concert have now been reported. So it's 100% sale in Europe. So from Paris to London to, okay, so there's SoFi, City Field, Arlington. So all of that is 100%. So congratulations to them. They did cancel one show, but the rest, the ones that they kept, they actually sold out everything. So congratulations to them. Um, so the total revenue for all 54 shows. So they've reported all of their 54 shows is 263,289,917. So that's their total revenue for all 54 shows. All 54 shows have now been reported. So that is coming from touring data. Okay. So next, just want to clarify that even if you go to the website of touring data, a huge part of their reports are actually coming from the agency itself. Okay, so next, so these are just some of the other venues. So they sold 100% of their European venues, 100% of their North American venues, and then okay, so yeah, so Dominate is officially the highest grossing and best selling tour by an Asian act in European history with 64.4 million from 391 tickets sold in 8 shows. Maybe they'll be JY Poppies' BTS. I think they are. The biggest advantage of JYP over Big Hit is that Big Hit has one act that could sell out a stadium, right? That can do a stadium tour, and that is BTS. And for JYP, he has two. It's Twice and Stray Kids. Now, Twice is actually preparing for a big tour, a stadium tour this time, and they have a different concept. Theirs is going to be a 360 in all of the venues. So they're going to be staying in the middle. So they're not effectively are not going to be blocking out any. Are you okay, baby? They're not going to be blocking out any area. They'll be able to sell 360 and then some on the ground, and then they're going to be performing in the middle. So let's see what they're gonna. I think that's an interesting concept. That's something that I wanted BTS to do first for a while now. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that. I mean, it's just okay. So we'll talk about BTS later. But that is the concept of Twice's stadium tour this time. So let's see what they're gonna be doing. But as I've said, at least for JYP, he has two groups that can actually sell out a stadium tour, not just a stadium, but a stadium tour, and really sell it out, not manipulate the numbers and just declare it's a sold out. So that's his biggest advantage. And for Big Hit, they are building up TXT, and now they have CORTIS. So let's see what's going to happen until BTS returns. Yeah, I mean, let's allow them their flowers, right? Let's give them their flowers because they've worked hard for this. And I'm very, for me, I think the reason it's very easy for me to admire all of this and just really admit how big they have become is that I'm super secure about what BTS. Let them be happy. So 360 stages are hard to block. Yeah. So even Twice said that the reason they took a long time to rehearse and plan everything was primarily because it was very hard for them to have to redesign a choreography, because a lot of their choreographies they've been doing for decades, right? I mean, for almost a decade, and now they have to redesign everything to accommodate this tour. So they said that they really had to rewire their brain to get to it. So okay, um, all right, and so some more reports on their achievements on their concert. Earned their most attended U.S. concert of all time, June 14, 2025, with 46,766 tickets sold in Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. Highest grossing U.S. concert of all time in June 14. And then most attended concert of all time, July 26, with 58,691 tickets at Stade de France. Okay, so congratulations to them. Lots of great achievements for them. They also made it inside Billboard Hot 100. So this is their fourth entry ceremony, and it landed at number 52. It's their second highest entry. They still have a chance to go higher next week. Let's see what they're going to be doing. And as I reported the last week, they got their seventh consecutive entry to Billboard 200 number one. So congratulations to them. Okay, that is it for our report for them. Let's go to our report for BTS. Okay, let's start with something. Seven broke the record for the longest charting song by a K-pop act in Spotify and in Spotify history. So the record was previously held by Dynamite, and so he. All right, do you want to go down? Okay, you say bye to everybody. Say bye. Say bye bye. Bye bye bye. You say bye bye. Okay. You want to stay there? I can't, baby. I'm working. You say bye bye. Bye bye. Bye. Why do you not want to look at them? Say bye bye. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So seven. The previous record was held by Dynamite, so he broke it. And he is now the longest charting song by a K-pop act in Spotify Global. Okay, actually Korean act, not just a K-pop act, and longest Asian native act. Okay, and then as you know, J Hope actually won Best Singer. Oh, thank you very much, Angel Star. Treat for Debak. This is perfect timing because tomorrow it's his and my mom's day. So once a week, it's their day. I just do and go wherever it is that they want to go. The park. My mom wants to go and shop, do the grocery or whatever. So that's once a week for them. So tomorrow is when we're gonna go out. I'm planning on taking them somewhere. I'll take you with me if that happens. So yeah, I'll do a lifestyle blog available to YouTube and Patreon members. So I'll take you there if I wherever we decide to go. Thank you, Angel Star. Okay, so congratulations to our dear J Hope. So he won Best Singer for 2025. And it was actually since 2017, it has been dominated by groups. And this time, they actually did a. This is the first time that an individual won it. What is the criteria for the award? It's a mix of sales and critics vote. So sales, critics vote. There is no fan vote. So it's just sales and critics. Yeah. So congratulations to J Hope. It's a big achievement. So 2017, 18, 20, 21, BTS for all of that. So for 2021, they tied Brave Girls. As you know, they made a huge comeback with this one single. Um, and they tied BTS for at 2021. 2022, it's Idol. 23, it's IVE. 24, Stray Kids. And then 25, it's J Hope. So I'm very, very proud of J Hope. He really, I think this tour and his solo era was one of the most satisfying to watch just because of a lot of the criticisms that he has been getting as a solo member or whatever. And then finally, for him to prove that he can hack it on his own, right? No IU, no IU. So, yes, no IU. Okay, and then, all right, so this is the biggest, one second, longest charting projects by male K-pop acts in Billboard 200 history. And as you can see, it is Love Yourself, Map of the Soul 7. Uh, this is the okay, Love Yourself, Her, Proof, B, Persona, Muse, and Golden. Who criticized him? So there's this big hug for, oh, thank you, Debbie. Is this for his travel fund or for treats? So there's this long-standing narrative in, if you were deep into like forums, um, even fan galleries, and there's this long-standing narrative on who's the most popular member and who is the least popular member. So J-Hope was not the most popular member. So it's so for him to sort of prove all of this is just, I'm so happy for him because he deserves it. He really worked hard for it, and he really deserves it. I mean, in terms of the quality of the songs, come on. And I mean, the performance that he put on it was just beyond impressive for me, having witnessed it myself. And South Korea is doing something. The Set Me Free of Jimmy is actually back, number 69. And then for the US, it's actually back to 500,000 streams a day. It has been that way for the last 3 days, I think. So they're moving, and this is the right way of movement, people. So if we kind of want to like fight for the members or make the members feel happy, we should always, what we need to do is actually direct our energy into the things that really matter to them, right? Like this, like their songs instead of anything else. Um, so anybody who's seen BTS live knows the stage perform presence is insane. Yeah, but as big as their tours are, there's a lot of armies who aren't able to see. So, and then many of them are actually, there's this, and I will be discussing this actually in the live stream for members only. But one of the reasons agencies actually debut groups is primarily because they believe many artists or many idols won't be able to hack it on their own. Like they can't get enough fans on their own. But putting them together, that will give the group more fans because then you're attracting more people. That is why many K-pop fans actually say that majority of group fans are actually um, they're actually solos because it's sort of that it was designed that way. So okay, all right, I'll discuss that further because it's controversial, but I'll discuss that further in the members only live stream. Okay, let's go, Jimin. He will soon have 52 weeks in US Billboard. Yes, he's gonna have 52 weeks in Billboard Hot 100. Sorry, in Billboard's Spotify US. And he's also, I think he's gonna go 400 days in the daily top songs in the US. I think so. He's on his way. An article was published about Jin's journey, his solo tour. You have to read it. It's gonna give you a lot of insights in the mind of Jin and how he actually conceptualized this concept. Okay, so I wanted to so this is some of his quotes. I wanted to break away from the typical concert format, which we know. right? Because he has always meant this to be the last episode or the final stretch of runs of Jin, and he wanted fans' participation. So he said, I even experimented with unique ways to make an entrance and work to maximize my time on stage. This is so funny because there was this one um, in the Prudential concert. Someone was sitting across me, and not across me, but three, maybe three rows away from me, and she was talking with me. Just she's not a fan. She was brought by um, sorry, he's a husband. He was brought by her by his wife, and he said that that was their second day to watch the concert, and he said, is this like an ordinary thing for this group to not have lengthy breaks in between in between the sets, right? And I was like, yeah, primarily like but this is extraordinarily short still, because he said that his wife has already brought him into several BTS, not BTS, but K-pop concerts, and all of them would have lengthy breaks, and there's a lot of solo performances in between. And you know what she's talking, and you know what he is talking about, that the time the group is actually together on stage is very, very minimal. So he's so shocked that for Jin, he was trying to maximize his time on stage. So it's the exact opposite of what he initially watched. Okay. And then another thing that he said is that he used Dojon as a pretext to do a lot of sneaky things while doing Ranjin. That ended up becoming the signature of the show. In line with that, I didn't want to kick things off just by myself, since it was supposed to be a shared experience with the fans. So just like we all know this. I mean, even in the very first, when I did my very first review, I already said that the intention of Jin is to have the audience co-create the concert with him. So we were co-creators and participants of this concert. Okay, so please read the article because it's great. I realized while working on my album, Happy, that I really wanted to perform the song I Will Come to You live on piano. I did not know how to play the piano at all, so I started practicing all the way from when Echo was being recorded. Imagine that. It's like, I want to play the piano. I'm going to learn how to play the piano. As someone who's played games online for a long time, I find events where only a small group of people get chosen and you just give up because you already know you won't be on them. So, in the review that I did, I said that he initially intended this to be a massively multiplayer game. And I'm right, because that was his intention. A lot of times, there's going to be one or two people that will be drawn out of the crowd and asked to participate. And to him it was unfair because he would rather have this like massively multiplayer game, which he was able to accomplish. Please read the article on Weavers. I want to thank every army who truly enjoyed the concert and shared in the fun with me from the bottom of my heart. I think about it every single time I get up on stage. But seriously, don't feel like I deserve all the love that I get. Still very, very humble. Okay, and then he did say that the the intro for Moon was actually inspired by J Hope. So he said I was getting ready for my tour while J Hope was on his, and I liked how he would start equal sign with the audience. So I ended up doing something similar. So they are getting inspired by each other. So if there's any narrative, so this is your emotional support picture of the day. It's just so cute. Some army created it, and it's just, doesn't that make you feel good? It's so cute. So that's our mochi. Okay, next picture. V. So he posted this himself. He's doing a really good job. My God, look at that. I think he can be an action star now. My God, those muscles. All right. So he's working very hard. Congratulations to V for that. Jimin, yes. Okay. And then this is RM. I did not know a time will come. where V was actually going to be bigger than RM. But here we are. Okay, and then you have a laughing Shogun. Doesn't he look good laughing? Okay, it fits him well. I hope he does it all the time. Yummy. And then of course you have a very pensive Shogun, a laughing Shogun and a pensive Shogun. And then you have big big Namjoon and bigger Tae. And then you have a very cute Jimin. Okay, that's your emotional support pick. And of course, you have our Maknae. A little clearer, a bigger view of his new tattoos. So I can't wait for us to actually see the fullness of it. But it looks like, I don't know. But this is whatever Policy is doing is working because it's becoming a work of art. The first time I saw it, was like, oh my God, this is so chaotic. But he's able to fix it. And that's our seven. Our seven. Okay, I hope that that made you happy. Okay, so someone was talking about, of course, don't forget to vote in VMAs. I think we're down to our last 2 days. Please don't forget to vote. And then it's usually an attendance award, but we should still vote. And then Dynamite. So if you can play Dynamite, it would be great. If we can cross it today or tomorrow at the very least, it would be a great gift for BTS members. So, and then I think that's it. That's the reminder. Oh, um, V, I posted it on Twitter. V actually posted a new ad on his IG. So if you can just search for that on YouTube as well and give it a watch, give it a like, comment. That would be great. It's for Coca Cola. Um, are we on OT7 airport watch? So there's been a lot of articles about them flying to the US to record the music video. Maybe I would love for it to come from them. I don't want any kind of spoiler from anybody else. If the agency announces it, and we will know because when the agency officially announces it, the reporters will be there. So um 28K views left to reach 2 billion. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. So let's do it today. Okay. um do you have questions? V and Coca-Cola, two of my favorite things. All right, do you have questions before we move on to Cortis or to HYBE? Less than 25,000 to go. Okay, less than 20. Let's go. Let's watch. I went to McDonald's yesterday to, oh, now only 23. Okay, we're going down. Good. Not watching airport stream. So I went to McDonald's yesterday, and it wasn't in the McDonald's where I went, and it was just because it was the one closest to my. I didn't bother calling because I know that it's not available on all venues. It's just that locations. It's just that that was the closest to where my dog goes for his fetch, and they weren't available. I'll try again today. I did ask the crew member, and they said it's going to be available today after 2 p.m. So, okay. Hi, 23K only. Okay, please don't forget to give Dynamite a view so that we can cross. On was spoiled big time. There were fan stalkers recording videos of the guys dancing in that open air spot. Okay, let's do HYBE. So, as you know, they hired someone to do their PR. And this is a little different from all the other PR efforts that they've made. Big Hit, HYBE actually has their own PR department. It's a pretty big department. They have a lot of people there. What they lack, though, is the type of PR that celebrities like Angelina Jolie, um, Jack Sparrow, what's his name? Those celebrities, they don't have the type of PR that big corporations have. and even politicians. And it was okay in the beginning when they were just competing, when they were just one of the four, right? When they were just one of the four big agencies, that was fine because that was all what they needed. Like, okay, do some releases, do some press conferences. But they have come to a point where you need to create a separate PR strategy for your brands, because the minute you become bigger, you become the target of Johnny Depp. There you go, Johnny Depp. So a lot of people, like yesterday, someone was asking me on X DMing me, like they said they were asking why are people not talking about Tail? So this is the member of NCT who was convicted of rape and sexual assault, and he is now we so he is appealing his sentence to lower the sentence. I think he was sentenced to 10 years and he's appealing it or something like that. And no one's really writing about it. um, Burning Sun, they were able to manage it very, very well. So right now, Sungri is actually able to do his own business. He goes to different events and stuff like that. Even Yang Yun Suk, the CEO of YG Entertainment, who was also convicted of a crime, and as I've mentioned to you guys, he actually verbally abused 21 on cam, and he's still able to go about his life, right? So um, the, all of those things, it's because those agencies are viewed in a different lens. They still are, the K-pop industry in general is still looked down upon in Korean society. So before BTS, it was like you're just one of the minor industries in Korea. You're no Samsung, you're no LG or Hyundai. You're just a minor industry, and so no one really pays attention to them. And then BTS happened, and they changed everything. So from being a just one agency, one industry, they became the industry because they're getting the same amount of attention as Samsung, as Hyundai, and they are generating business for South Korea bigger than the businesses that a second hand or third hand adjacent businesses, the same way that no other industries are able to do. Okay, so they've been bribing SK for years. That's one way of putting it. Bribe is one way of putting it. We usually call it relations. So the needs of HYBE has changed. And as they continue their success, as BTS continues their success, as they actually launch groups that are going to become global successes as well, like CORTIS, most likely ILLIT'S and the SSERAFIM, the more they're going to attract attention. And people from different walks of life are starting to get, other industries are starting to get involved, including politics. So it is now necessary for them to create a different department, a separate department that will operate in a specialized capacity. Okay, so their hire, the vice president, former Kookmin Bank vice president Kim Jin Yong, has been appointed as the chief of PR. So, but he's not just an ordinary PR person. He's actually very much connected to the politics and financial industry of South Korea. In 2022, he served as the chief public relations officer for the group. And then 2023, his promotion actually went quick. So from 2022 to 2023, he advanced to senior manager overseeing brand strategy group at Kookmin Bank. If you know anything about the Korean corporate culture, you know that this is rare. It's rare for you to go from chief public officer and then to senior manager, managing director. He knows how to play politics and he's also good. That's the only way he was able to promote. So he knows how to play that game. And of course, he's known for hiring BTS as an advertising model. And this was a bold move because banks used to be very, very conservative. Bringing in a celebrity to get attached to your name was risky. A lot of people did not believe him, but it actually worked. So it means that he's willing to take risks, number one. Number two, he knows how to play the game in melding mi- conservative industries to mainstream culture. So I think that's why he was hired. He knows how to connect the two. He understands both industries, the conservative one, finance, politics, and then the mainstream one. So on paper, he seems to be the perfect guy for the job. Okay. Now, he's deeply connected in the financial sector and industry circles, making him specially valuable for Hype. So he's not just a PR guy. Remember that. His job is to actually mix or integrate and be present. Oh yeah, I think that's the right word. His job is to actually strengthen the presence of HYBE in the financial, politics, and regulatory networks in South Korea. So it's not just releasing PR. That's probably one thing he would not bother doing unless it's very, very critical. His primary job is that he wants to make high presence in the finance, politics, and regulatory networks. The same way Samsung, Hyundai, and all other industries are very much present in finance, politics, and regulatory networks. They need it. They've come to a point where they actually need it because they are becoming targets. In the last 3 years, they have been blocking punches more than they've actually been throwing punches. So it's high time for them to actually go and penetrate that side that's actually throwing them punches. Okay, so that's the marching order basically. Get BTS present in the finance and politics side of Korea. Now, artists, some of the what is visible to us as a fan is that they have constantly been battling artist scandals, right? So you have dating scandals, um, drunk driving scandal, silly things, uh, lip syncing scandals. That's minor things that actually distract the market, and those are what the mainstream fans are having to deal with. But there are bigger controversies that we're sort of not really understanding fully. For example, Bang Shiyuk's controversies, those are deeper than what we think. People dismiss it as if it's nothing. Like, he has already been proven innocent in that. That's fine. It's gonna go away um, fast enough. Once they've proven everything, it's going to go away fast enough. But this move actually signals that they truly understand how deep this problem is. Because if you pull back and think about it, if he has already been proven innocent so many times, why does it keep on coming back? Right? So they want something from him. They want something from him and they want something from the company. And it's going to distract from their core assets, which is music, which is developing artists. And if they don't deal with this soon enough, it's going to get worse and worse. It's like a wound. If you don't treat it soon enough, or a disease or something, if you don't treat it soon enough, it's going to affect your core. Okay. So remember that. If it's so obvious that Bang Shiyok has already been proven innocent of this, why does it keep on coming back? It means they just want something more. So at this stage in Hybe's career, they are not just managing idols, they're also managing power. Because that's what they have. That's the biggest asset that they have right now, influence. And worse, their influence is cultural and it's global. Unlike Samsung or Hyundai or other industries from South Korea, their power is coming from a product. So they keep on developing good products. The demand will always be there in the global market. It's very tangible. But for HYBE, their product are people, right? Like the power and the influence that their artists yield. Okay, all right. So let's look at how the PR strategies of other agencies. SM Entertainment is known for way more scandals that that Hype actually has. So they have the Suman. They ousted the founder of the agency. You have Kakao versus Hype acquisition fight, lawsuits over artist contracts. Tail, the criminal case has already been proven guilty, and then they have a lot of artists leaving. So they have way more scandals than all the other agencies put together. But their primary strategy has always been to keep a very close and strong circle of influencers. And when I say influencers, it's not just online influencers, but reporters. So they develop relationship with these reporters in order to block any kind of negative publicity that will go on. They have not held back in actually paying for an agency to do reverse viral marketing. Okay. So that's their primary strategy. They control the media. And if you control the media, you control the narrative. And they have not, as I've said, they did not they didn't hold back in controlling even the online narrative. Okay. For YG Entertainment, they've been through some of the worst, the Burning Sun scandal, tax evasion probes, TOP drug controversies, artists constantly leaving the agency, and constant leadership criticism. But they have been so good at managing it primarily because they ignore it. So even GD, for example, he's been through so many plagiarism scandals. He's actually been seen smoking joint, but they were just the strategy is just they'll dismiss it. Okay, so that's their primary strategy. So if SM is all about making sure that they have reporters that will control the narrative, YG actually dismisses it. JYP, on the other hand, and they also twist facts, by the way. So, and then for JYP, they're primarily hinged and attached to the reputation of JYP. And Jin Young Park is actually known to be a very nice guy. And everybody seems to agree on that. You know, anybody in the industry would tell you he's a really nice guy. And so that has caused very little friction against anybody. So he constantly says that he's value driven. And so if there is a controversy, like for example, when this member of NMIX left, Jenny, he was like, oh, I wanted her to have the freedom to do whatever she wants. So I'm not going to hold back in terms of contract and IP and whatever. But the weakness is that this model will only work up until JYP holds a very good reputation. If somebody destroys him, then the agency is also done. Okay. So now that's why, and all of these strategies, it's not anymore enough for HYBE. Again, because their influence has gone over beyond K-pop. So, and because of that, and it's also global. And so because of that, a lot of other industries, politics, finance, have been interested on them. So now the attacks are going to come not just from the fans, but also from those industries. So the three things that HYBE has that other agencies don't is BTS. That's number one. They don't have a name like BTS. They don't have international presence as strong as BTS or other groups of HYBE, and they don't have clear future. So in the lineup of HYBE, you can see like, okay, this guys, this they have future. This girls, they have a future. For all the other agencies, if you look at their lineup, it's so muddy. You can't sort of see who will actually have, who will be contenders in the international market. That's why politics, finance, and regulations are looking at BTS, at Big Hit, at HYBE, because they're the only ones with a visible future. Okay. I know the SK government is pressuring Bang Chiyuk. Really hope they stay strong. Okay, so that's number one. Now, um, this is why crisis management is not optional anymore for Big Hit. With Min Hee Jin, ILLIT versus New Jeans, BTS military narratives, it's one after the other. And and fine, it's okay, you have people that can deal with it, but the idea is to not have to deal with it, so that your energy are all going into improving your product, right? The same way Samsung, Hyundai, they're able to concentrate on just improving their products, and somebody else is taking care of politics relationship, financial relationships, all of those stuff. So they need somebody that will establish that will establish their presence in politics and in finance. So now the implication is, if this guy is here so that he can manage the presence or strengthen the presence of HYBE in politics and in regulations and in finance, the big question is that how is that going to reflect on your groups? Because if you're playing politics, right? If you're rubbing elbows with politicians, with businesses, with regulators, then aren't they gonna want a piece of your most popular product? And that would be the groups under HYBE. So that's the bigger question. It's unquestionable that it is necessary. It's unquestionable that it's going to help them. But how won't these politicians, and they're already starting, won't these politicians and these regulators want a piece of your artists? And right now, one of the big criticisms of haters is that HYBE is already prioritizing money. And that's actually what Min Hee Jin really drove home. Like, oh, they're not thinking about anything else but money. So he played on that narrative. Okay. So um the thing, so that will tint, or that's going to affect the reputation, the purity of art, of HYBE, the groups of HYBE. Because if you have somebody that's managing that relationship with different politicians and financial regulators, then that means your agency isn't just about art, it's also about politics. So does that mean that you're going to give favors to these politicians and to the financial regulators? That's why you're doing this. Um, just as so you can avoid future controversies? That is the big question. Why did they book such a big venue for Baby Monster? Do they have any? Okay, I think you're still in the Baby Monster. Okay, so MHJ is the last person that should make an accusation. Yeah, but yes, that is true. But regardless, right? As I've already established at this stage, it's inevitable and it's needed for them to do this, because if they don't strengthen their process in the political world and financial regulation world of Korea, they will continue to get attacked, right? So it's inevitable. They can't do anything about it. And this is not an easy decision. This is not like, okay, let's have a meeting today, let's hire him tomorrow. This is a long discussion. And it's a long discussion primarily because of that. If you hire somebody that's going to take care of the political side, of the financial side, then it only means that your agency is now playing that game. So you're not as pure as you are going to claim yourself to be, right? Okay, so um, because remember, crisis management is not just about putting out fires, it's actually more about avoiding it. And how do you avoid it? It's the same way, not very similar to the strategy of SM Entertainment. Keep a lot of people close. I mean, that's a classic PR strategy. You connect with reporters, you develop your relationship with influencers. And when I say influencers, not it's not just like online influencers, but influential figures, politicians, reporters, other celebrities. You try to keep a very close relationship with them so that when there is a big controversy, you know who to call. So then, if that is the case, so that's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect of it is being, I guess you can call it, a gatekeeper of the company. Your job is to make sure that things are guarded. So things that should not be known should remain unknown. So that's another aspect of your job. So you make sure that the communication process is tight, that a lot of the information people will not know unless it is necessary for them to know. And this is very, very common in big agencies. So those are two important aspects of his job. So, but then, yes, it's necessary, but the big question remains, if he needs to go back, if he needs to establish a relationship with politicians, with the media, then you're just doing what other agencies and what other big companies are doing, and that is to play politics. Um, okay, so most likely somewhere in the future, fans are going to use this to manipulate the narrative, at least online, right? And then those that are in close relationship with SM Entertainment, YG, most likely they're going to use that to control the narrative as well, to paint HYBE not as a creative agency, but as a power agency. That's what they want: politics and money, power, politics, and money. Okay, but even with all of that, even with everything that I said, it is not, we can't deny that it is necessary for them to have it. Investor confidence is a huge thing. So their stocks is actually what they primarily use to file a loan and to get investors and whatever. And these investors are volatile. So if they lose confidence, it's easy for them to pull out. So they do need someone that will control the bigger narrative. And of course, they are expanding globally. When you're expanding globally, there's a lot of politics involved. So, and then of course, just surviving the ruthless industry. So I guess my point in this entire thing is, while it is necessary for them to hire somebody like him, it also questions how far are they now willing to go in order to protect their sources of income. Um, So, to a certain degree, it's both a confession and a flex. It's a confession because it shows HYBE knows it has a reputational problem, because they know that there are threats that they are most likely will be unwilling or unable to fight with their current resources. But it's also a flex because it shows that their position in the music label and probably the business industry, the finance industry in South Korea, is now higher than everybody else, because they need the kind of resources that their competitors are actually not, um, don't need yet. Okay, so this is going to be their strategy now. They have current scandals, primarily it's Min Hee Jin and the stock manipulation accusations against Bang Shiuk. So instead of treating this as a fan drama, HYBE is acknowledging this as a corporate risk. So by hiring Kim Jin Young, a former banking executive, they're putting PR in the same category as regulatory compliance, investor relations, political lobbying, and creative development. So let's see what's going to happen. What kind of relationship he's going to be developing, and how they're going to play this in the political arena. The the idea, if he does his job well, is that people won't even notice. If he's able to establish the presence of HYBE inside the political the political industry and the finance industries, that people won't even notice. So let's see how good he's going to do it. Okay. Please, no mention of politics. Politicians. So do you have questions? HYBE is already the fourth entertainment company, the fourth biggest entertainment company in the US, and is expanding through the world. There's no other way. You have to protect the company and especially the artist. Well, absolutely. Um, I think that is like what we all want. Um, that it's just that, the question is, how far are they going? Like, how deep into politics are they gonna be in? Is Bang Shiyuk going to be going to pull up dynamite because they said that we hit the target? Um, are they going to? Okay, so to be here. Okay, you can see it. So we hit our goal. There you go. Yes, yay. We hit our goal. Congratulations, 2 billion. There you go. 2 billion was uploaded. Congratulations, BTS. It's almost like how much of your soul do you have to sell? Exactly. Yeah. It would be interesting. It would really be interesting to see, because as I've said, the biggest uh, if he is successful, people won't even notice if he is successful. Um, I think the only thing that they need to fight, and I don't know if they're willing to do it, would be the online chatter, right? Because a lot of the haters of the groups of Hive, they live online. And it's really the only way they can sort of control the narrative is if they control the narrative online. And so if the reporters are not going to talk about it, they're going to pick it up. So, um, so then how are they willing to do the same thing SM Entertainment did, and that is to pay a reverse viral marketing company in order to bury the narratives that they don't want to see. If they do it, then they're doing the same thing that other agencies are doing, which we claim to hate. So, right? So it's like a catch 22 kind of thing. Like if they don't do it, damn if they do, damn if they don't. Um, okay, Fairlane, how far do you think they should go without selling their souls like the rest of the companies? I no company in the world has become successful without biting the apple. That that I as far as I know, there's no world like all this. I'm sure that we hear about, like, oh, the CEO is great. For a while Google was known to be like the nice company. But again, all of those are PR. Those are all publicists working their magic in order to build a reputation. But if you look behind all of these things, you'll see nothing but political connections and whatever. I'm sure that you hear this, and I'm not going to name names because I don't want to talk politics, specific politics in this channel. But you hear like, oh, this person contributed to this kind of to this politician, for example, to this campaign or whatever. The truth is that they're both contributing. They're contributing to both sides because you want to make sure that whoever wins, you'll have your connection set. So the question as to how far they would go, um, I would say whatever it takes in order to protect their core assets. But they should never ever integrate Big Hit. They should keep Big Hit as a private company. They should maintain the kind of independence Big Hit has right now. Because then that can be their fallback, so that if any, at least that company cannot be influenced by anything. In South Korea, they have to play ball and play it well. It's like an honest politician. They won't last long. Correct. Yeah. But yeah, it's, if you understand the business and how and why he's hired, and for his marching order to be very clear, strengthen the presence of big hit of HYBE in the political arena and the finance industry and the regulatory bodies. You kind of know already what he's trying to do. So let's see. And this is that move by the South Korean president talking about K-pop. I've mentioned to you before, and a lot of you were like, "No, he's fine," and was like, "No, he's not. He's not fine." the he's a Robin Hood, and the mere fact that this is my first indication why I knew something was amiss. If you're talking about changing an entire industry, right, or just changing a system like that the tax break and all of those things, if you're a sound leader, you would have said that this will not exist in a vacuum. You can't take money from somebody, give it to somebody else, and expect that person to prosper. It has to be a 360 program. You need to make sure they are trained. You need to make sure that you're nurturing the economy so that they exist in an environment or with consumers that are able to purchase their product. Right? So no program will ever succeed if it exists in a vacuum. No program will succeed if it exists in a vacuum. It has to be supported by everything else. And I understand that as a president, you don't expect everybody to realize that. But you still have to mention it. You still have to make people realize that, okay, outside of this thing that I'm doing, I'm also doing these things. Like I'm trying to make programs for small entrepreneurs. I'm trying to fix our education system because it sucks and all of those things. He didn't mention anything about that. He's just all about like, I'm going to take money from this and I'm going to put it here and that's it. So I'm like, yeah, no, that is not gonna work. So I could be wrong though. I'm not the president. So um but that's this is, I think, one of the reasons they decided to finally pull the trigger in this. This has been in the plan for a long time. This is not like an overnight thing. But I think one of the reasons they finally pulled the trigger would be the new administration, knowing the kind of pressure that they will get from this administration. They need this now. Okay. How will this impact the artists, though? The company shouldn't be able to force their artists to play this game if they don't want to do that. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't force the artist, correct? But you also have never, and we have never heard of any K-pop artist who has been, well, no, that's not true. Um, okay, so it's true that you shouldn't be, at least, okay, let me just put it this way. No other agency has had a group like BTS. Everyone just is salivating for that group. So how good will he be able to isolate, is the question. How good will he be able to isolate BTS and the individual members? We've seen it when they were, I think it was when they were given the appointment letters as ambassadors for the World Economic Forum. We saw how these politicians forced the members to raise their hand. We saw it right before our eyes. It was shocking to see the members' arms being raised or forcibly raised. And you can see that the members were so uncomfortable doing it. But they couldn't do anything because they're going to be called impolite if they don't agree to do it. But those are the tricks that they use. And that's just like a very simple thing. Okay. The new president is shady. He's trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. Yeah, the only hope is that maybe he's just not mentioning it. Maybe because he thinks that it's not necessary to mention to the fans, he's not mentioning that this program is not going to exist in a vacuum. I just want to be well understood because I think I was misunderstood by a lot of people in the last life. I'm not saying that this program is bad at all. I do think, and I will stand by this, and I continue to stand by this. I do think that in an ideal world, when people start generating a certain amount of money, when you have a certain amount of wealth, it's time for you to work for other people, right? Meaning you help other people, right? So that is my stand. So his effort to try and get money from big corporations and give it to the small one, I'm all for it. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. It should. We all have an obligation to help other people, but it cannot exist in a vacuum. It cannot. And you cannot expect people and you cannot expect people to not understand what it is that you're doing. So, and it seems because he's not explaining any of it that he's not doing that. All he wants is to get money from the rich and give it to the poor. And I'm all for it, but it has to be supported by a bigger program. Okay. Um, all right. So, is there any other question? I don't want to get into politics. This is all. I'm okay to talk about the economic side of it, not the political side of it. And in all fairness, I think that's why I also admire BTS. It's because they help, and we know about how they're helping, and because that gets publicized, even though it is against their will, it encourages other people to do the same thing, right? So, and it's also like pressuring celebrities to do the same. And it's kind of, I don't ever believe in pressuring anybody to do something that they don't want to do. Just again, want to be very very clear on that. But again, to a certain extent, once you once you generate a certain amount of wealth, I think it is your obligation to help other people, right? So fans sort of like talking about it, it's kind of giving people, it's leading the way towards awareness that it is your obligation to help. I'm not saying you give everything that you have, but it is your obligation to help. So, okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, we have 18,000 over 2B already. Good job building the buffer. Yeah, I think we need to build more than 200,000 buffer. World Expo. Do you think that is why HYBE went only to the media about Jimin? Um, I think the Jimin issue is very, very irrelevant, the same way all the other dating scandals are very irrelevant. Yeah. What do these smaller companies to do? I'm not saying that your concern is not relevant, and I may be misinterpreting your question. So let me rephrase that. Do you think that is why HYBE went only to the media about Jimin? Um, I think that is a separate thing. It's a separate, it's a different concern altogether. Because if you would actually observe, no one in the Western media actually picked it up. So it's really a non-issue. This is more, what they did was that entire thing was more a fan concern than anything else. And I think that move was more than anything kindness on the part of Jimin. Does that make sense? I think he didn't have to do it, and he knows he didn't have to do it. But for him, it was more an act of kindness. So let's leave it at that. What? Okay. Fairy Lane, did you watch High Boy Translate? No, I don't watch High Boy. Sorry, I don't watch. The translation, I had a friend translate it, so and I uh, shared it to the paid members of Patreon. So that is, we're done with that. I don't wanna. I don't want to talk about Jim. That issue, I don't want to talk about that. I'm sorry, but I just want to draw the line. It's not a concern of mine. I'm just concerned about their music and their art. That's a personal matter for of Jimin's life, and I don't want to. Okay, all right. So I'm sorry, but I just have to draw the line. I don't want to talk about it. It's just personal life, and this is the same thing for all the anything comes up with other members about their personal life. Unless they personally talk about it, I don't want to. Yeah, just sorry, I apologize, but I just don't. That's something a personal rule. Okay. What do these smaller companies do to show how health is impacting them? What is expected of them? It's the same structure as US. So there are loans and there are grants. So as you know, in the US, you can actually get a grant, but you do need to provide result. So meaning, and you have to do it in terms of like money. So there has to be returns. You have to be able to employ people, and if you don't, then you pay. Loans are just that you need to pay regardless. So it's the same thing. There could be grants, and they're going to structure it the same way. If it's a loan, then you just need to pay it off no matter what happens. If you don't, then your credit score goes down. But if it is a loan, so South Korea has their own version of credit score. But if it is a grant, you do need to provide some result, and that is in terms of income and employment. Otherwise, you pay it. Okay. So do you want to move on to CORTIS? Okay. I apologize to everybody, but I hope you don't think that I'm being snobbish or anything. It's just a personal rule that I have. Anything on there? If the I talk about, like, for example, the sister of J Hope, because she's very public. So when she posts something, I don't mind talking about that. I don't mind talking about her business or the coffee shop of the sister of RM, because those are businesses, right? Those are public things. I don't mind that. But nothing on their personal side. So I also will not talk about the life of the sister herself. I don't want to talk about that because she does not. So, but like their interaction, I'm so fond of it. I remember the dinner, the when J Hope was in the US and he was really having a hard time, and he called her sister, right, to have lunch with her. And it was so funny that, because it's customary in South Korea that the older one pays the bill. I think you all know that. And so it was just so funny that he was wearing his AP watch, and then his hand was at his back, and he was just looking at the bill and letting her sister pay. And I'm like, this, you're wearing a $200,000 watch and you can't pay the damn bill. But that's just their custom. So that's just how it goes. And the sister is rich too. Hello. So okay, just want to introduce the members to those that are going to be confused. This is the leader. His name is Martin, and he's 17 years old, and he is Canadian. I think he's Canadian. That was where he was born and raised. And so he speaks English very, very fluently. The oldest member, however, is James. And for those who don't know, he was actually a part of Trainee A. So the group that was supposed to debut after TXT. And then one of the members of that group, Leo, got into some sort of a controversy. They dissolved the entire group. All the other members already debuted. They went to different agencies. They all debuted in other groups. James decided to stay with Big Hit, and he is now debuting. So he's the oldest at 19 years old. Okay. And then this is Juhon. So he is older, I think. He's older than Martin. Martin's the middle child. He's actually right in the middle of the group. So this is Juhon. He's the latest, he's the last person to be added. And he was a child star. He was a model when he was young. And I think he did some series or he appeared in some drama or something. But he's already, before joining the group, he was already one of the highest paid child stars in South Korea. And the casting director said that, when he saw him, he felt like, oh, maybe this is we need to get this guy. And it was actually, I did a live viewing and a live reaction of their documentary 2 nights ago, just because I got crazy and I was like, I'm gonna watch it, might as well do a live reaction. So I said in that live reaction that this face is the face that can launch 1,000 brands. Just look at that face, right? This is the face that you will see in Vogue. This deserves to be in Vogue. That's the kind of face that he has. Songyeon is turning out to be the lyricist of the group. So, and he also has a great, all of them, they can all actually, they can all sing, they can all write. they can all produce. Okay, so Ruth Fishery said Leo choose to leave because he could not wait mentally anymore to debut since that was pushed back again and again, and the others also left. Okay, Songyeon. So that's Songyeon. Okay, and then we have Konho, which is the maknae of the group, and he reminds me so much of Jungkook. He has that naughtiness in him, but very very gentle. There was this one scene in the documentary that Ruth Fisher said it is not the minor drama that destroyed Trainee A. Okay, so Konho, there was this one scene in the documentary that when he said that he actually finished a track before leaving Korea, going to the US. Okay. And then he was like, but there's this line that he was struggling with. And then he was asking for a word. As he said, as a Korean word that rhymes or something like that. I was asking the group, no, responding. And he said, if you contribute, I'm gonna add you as a co-writer. I'm gonna give you credits. It was like, okay, this guy is funny. So he reminds me so much of Jungkook. Just some things. If you watch the documentary, there are there's a lot of differences between them and the previous groups of Big Hit, and that is BTS and TXT. So one is that they do have a lot of resources and utilities that neither BTS nor TXT had during debut. And that part of that is their ability to immediately work with some of the best producers in the anywhere in the world. So in fact, one of the people that was actually they wanted to work with was Juicy J. And usually it takes about a year and a half to book these people for a session. But because of the success of BTS and TXT and the network that they've already established because of those successes, it's easier now for CORTIS to actually call them and to actually book a session with them, right? Because if you're a Juicy J, for example, well, who the hell are you? You haven't even debuted. Why am I going to work with you? Which was one of the things that BTS experienced when they were the ones who debuted. They couldn't work with anybody because nobody would give them their time of day. Okay. So that's one advantage that they have. And second is that because of the concept and financial circumstances, Cordis also has way more freedom creatively. If you watch the documentary, they actually it was actually surprising the amount of independence they were given. They were shooting their own music video without having to consult anybody. The only time that they consulted somebody in the music video was because they needed a venue. Well, specifically, there was this part where they wanted to shoot during sunrise in the Griffith Park for those that are from California. So they wanted to go to the Griffith Park because they wanted to capture the sunrise. And so they had to consult the team because they wanted to know like what time do we need to go there and stuff like that. Other than that, they shot their own music videos all on their own. Juicy J looks kind here. Is he not kind? I have not watched any of his documentaries outside of his music. That's all I know of him. But is he not kind? Okay, so but I think as you know, they were able to do it again. They had that luxury because HYBE, Big Hit specifically, they have a lot of money already, right? So they can afford to experiment a lot. Okay. And then a lot of the management strategy HYBE is using on them, they actually learned from BTS and TXT as well. So, for example, um, Supreme Boy, who, as you know, was one of the OG of the BTS teams, he sort of already knows what it takes to go from South Korea to the world. He's experienced that. So he's learned a thing or two, more than a thing or two, from BTS themselves, right? So they have now that expertise that BTS didn't have when it was them who was actually debuting in the early years of their career. The learnings of Supreme Boy, his noise, the other producer, they all got that from BTS. So it's actually Cortis that's benefiting from them. Okay. Remember all of these things because people are going to use it against Cortis, against BTS. So they essentially, Cortis actually has models to learn from, right? Because their seniors already became very, very successful. Okay, and then they are most likely going to enter the US market very, very early. Their music is very Western. And also, Big Hit can afford it. So that's most likely what's going to happen. He was Supreme Dad in his documentary, Supreme Boy. Um, but with all of those, with all the resources and with all the freedom that they have, of course, those have consequences as well. When you have power, you also have responsibility. So the more resources and more opportunities, all of that equate to bigger pressure. Because if you're given all the things that you need, then you have absolutely no excuse to fail, right? It's just like natural. TXT was hampered by COVID. That's one. And I know that in the beginning, they were sort of, not in the beginning, but like maybe in the middle of their career, one of the things that they mentioned is that they didn't get as much freedom as they initially wanted. They eventually got the freedom, they eventually earned it for themselves. But in the beginning, there was a little bit more control than they actually wanted to. And for this, they just, word is just like, they're on a loose. Like, they're just, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but they just do whatever it is that they want. But again, because of that, if you're given everything that you need, then you have no excuse. You can't fail. You're already given everything that you need, and you can't fail. If you fail, it's all on you. Um, the good thing is that they're hella talented. If you watch this, I was surprised because based on Go and based on what you want, I expected that their music is going to be more than anything geared towards Gen Z and Gen Alpha, younger Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And it is. It's geared towards that. But they're so good at their core. There were a lot of tracks in there that I actually liked. And my favorite actually ended up being the one that Konho wrote. I think that's so far my favorite. And then the other thing is that they've all participated in the production and creation of performances and songs of other of their group members like James choreographed Magnetic, and he choreographed the selling point, the major point in the choreography, and then Martin participated in the production of that. So, but it is useless because their talent is very raw right now. It is useless if they don't hone it. If they fail to hone this in such a way that would allow them to actually earn money, then this is useless. So, again, the pressure is on. It's all on them. Okay. So basically, the principle is when you are given more than what everyone else had, then you are supposed to achieve what everyone else, more than what everyone else achieved, right? So, okay. Um, then, if you compare the three groups that already debuted, BTS is very narrative heavy, right? So that's and that of course I won't have it any other way, but they're very narrative heavy. TXT is very emotions heavy. Cortis seems to not have any kind of guide. They're just whatever feels right is what they're going for. We don't know because in the documentary, one of the surprising things that the A&R revealed is that they don't have a branding document yet. So she said that they didn't set a specific sound. Like she said, we don't have a specific sound. We're just gonna let them find it, and that was surprising because that was set for at least for TXT when TXT debuted. It was set. They know the kind of sound that they actually wanted to go for, but for this group, they allowed the group to explore and to find it themselves. They did. Okay. So Suga said he plans to help the younger artists to have better support, and it should be this way. Is a gamble on artists in both the company, but a level of trust. Will they have to pay back the amount that is being? Yes, yes, they do have. They need to pay back the amount that is being used on them. Correct. Okay, so I think their market is not I think, I'm pretty sure Gen Z and Alpha is their primary market. So, and according to some psychologists and sociologists, Gen Z is very competitive, while Gen Alpha are decision makers. So, this is the kind of market. Their attitude fits the target market that they are catering to. So, they're very much they're competitive, and they are decision makers, so they make decisions on their own for their own career. Lots of Cordy's dance challenge online. Yeah, so these are the generation. I don't know where you fall, but so Gen X allegedly starts 1965, millennials 1980. I thought it was much later. Gen Z 1995, and Gen Alpha 2010. So where do you belong? Silent generation 25, boomers 1945. Where do you fall? This is one of the so this is what I was talking about when I said that they were given total freedom. This is them finding a way on how to shoot themselves. You said what they wanted was, you'll see it, I guess, at one point. Gen Xer, Dodger Girl. So they wanted to get the point of view of the product that they were holding. So from the time they take it out of the fridge, it was a Coca-Cola can. So they wanted to take that point of view. That's the concept. Whatever it is that they're holding, that's the point of view. And this is how they did it. They taped the poor phone into the into the can of Coca-Cola, and that's what they were using to go around. So I thought it was like a MacGyverish, but it's a sample of how free they were to actually experiment with everything that they were doing. Um, Now, because of that, because they are all hella talented, all of them can rap, all of them actually write, it's giving Hype the freedom to experiment with how they will promote the group. And one of the ways they're promoting it is by heavily emphasizing their participation in the creation of their narrative. This entire documentary is so different from all the other documentaries that you will watch, because it takes you through the process of creating music. Okay. um, Unlike other documentaries, usually documentaries in the West, what kind of phone is that? I don't know. X, I think. iPhone X. So why didn't Hype do this for other groups? Because you can't, okay, you can't do this in other groups where there is no equal participation. So as I mentioned, for Cortis, all of them were participating equally in the creation of the tracks. So like they would work on it together, come up with a melody together. Of course, one person would eventually come up with their own, but they're always in the same room. But for all the other groups of Hive, not everyone has the ability to create. So they're only able to do this kind of promotion for Cortez. 17 is known for producing their own producing their own material, but not everyone produces. It's like three of them, right? In Cortez is different. It's the five of them in the same room together all the time. And so you can promote them that way because it's actually real. If you do it, for example, in Les Seraphim, where virtually only Jennifer Hyunjin, who's actually like a creator through and through, then it's gonna look like a documentary of Hyunjin. So because they're all equally talented, it's giving them the freedom to promote. So this generation, I also think, is ready for this type of raw process, meaning there's a lot of people that would be interested in watching the actual creation of a group. In documentaries, produced by Hollywood, it's usually centered on three things: rise to fame, cultural significance, and creative genius. So it's not really about showing you how a track is made or how an album is made, but explaining how the end was achieved. This documentary is different because, as I've said, it's going to take you through the actual process of creating it. And it's messy. It's very messy. It's very frustrating many times. So remember, now this came in a perfect time because remember I've mentioned before that Gen Alpha is going to redefine what music is. So it's not going to be based on the actual end product anymore. It's going to depend on the process of creation. So who the humanity behind the product is going to be important. So for them, if it's created by AI, they will still listen to it, but it's just a product. If it is created by a human being, then it is art. That's why something like this is very important. Okay. Is Hybe in charge of their promotion, or is Big Hit? It's Big Hit, but they're using the resources of Hybe. So, for example, A&R is a shared, it's a shared resource across all agencies under Hybe. So, A&R is the one that's in charge of putting them together with producers, creating a program so that they can find their sound or whatever. That's a department that's being used by all other agencies under Hybe. Okay. Is Hybe in charge of Yunjin participates the most, but the other members do have writing credits. They do, but not equal, right? As I've said, like for example, for this, they're all equally participating in every track, meaning they're all in that room creating the song. So, and that's from silence to completion. That's what happens. So, isn't what Court is doing kind of like what Stray Kids are doing in terms of controlling their work? No. So for for Stray Kids, they usually have one producer with them. They usually work with one producer. Usually they work with one producer for an entire album. And then it's the three Ratchan, right? The three producers, Han, Changbin, and Bang Chan. So those are the three main producers. Others participate, but it's primarily the three that's actually doing the production. Again, for Cortis, it's the five of them together all the time. One of them can create a track. Like for example, for Konho, because he wanted to learn, he actually created the track all in on his own. So there are like one-offs like that, but for the most part, like Go was actually created. If you watch the documentary, Go the track actually started with the producers playing a well-known track. It's not 808, but it's a beat. It's a well-known beat. So he was playing it, and then the group just decided to do some melodies like spontaneously. They were freestyling. It was James who nailed it. So he was like, the main melody came from James, and then the others just built on it. But the mere fact that they were all together doing freestyling against the beat was pretty, like, it's a pretty magical but also a messy situation. So who knows if James would have been inspired with that melody if it wasn't for the contribution of the other four, as opposed to, for example, what Stray Kids are doing. It's primarily the three members producing and composing with one other producer, and then the others come in to participate. For Cordy's, no, it's the five of them together all the time. And in fact, Slow Rabbit, Supreme Boy actually emphasized that. He said that, yeah, I think it was Supreme Boy, either Supreme Boy or A&R person that actually told Martin, because at some point Supreme Boy wasn't there, so the five of them had to work with the producer and a veteran producer on their own. So the A&R person was telling them, "Oh, you have to make sure that you do well because Supreme Boy is not going to be there to guide you." And so they were creating the song, and at some point, Martin sort of drew the five of them together and met. The producer was there, but the five of them were meeting, and then they were giving their inputs and stuff like that. After the session, the A&R actually said that, "Hey Martin, I like what you did when you pulled the group together to regroup, when you pulled the members together to regroup, discuss the track, and on that very same day they kind of decided that, oh, it's probably like a b-side, it's going to be in the album, but it's not a title track, because that's what they were trying to get, the title track. So the A&R person told him that's a good move when you pull the entire group together. So no other, so far, no other K-pop group has actually done it this way. The closest would be BTS. But even with BTS, you still have your three primary producers, right? For CORTIS, it's actually all of them together. So, okay. The closest that I can think of would be the Beatles. But this was the latter part of the Beatles, because remember, in the beginning, it was primarily John Lennon and Paul McCartney that were writing and producing for the group. So it was much later on that the others started participating. But this is unprecedented so far. No one has actually done it this way yet. They are going to most likely participate in, they're going to get into gaming. This is going to be their entry to the metaverse, and in that, like, social media 2.0. But so I think their primary target remains to be the young market, Gen Alpha and younger Gen Z, but they're gonna hit the older generation just because of nostalgia. Sorry for the wrong spelling. Primarily because it's been such a long time since we've had like a group that organically writes their own songs and really, really write their own songs as a group. It's been such a long time, right? I don't know, like, so while BTS, and I think this is what's going to happen, when BTS and TXT pursue their individual activities, Cortis is going to be the group that's going to be promoting. There is no trainee that, I think there is trainee that. Um, so they're the ones that will be promoting. So you have, I think they timed this perfectly, right? So the TXT and BTS are going to go on tour. They're going to be promoting as a group. While they're doing that, Cordis is building their name. Once the other two groups pursue their individual activities, then you have Cortis to take over. And then while Cortis is doing that, they're preparing their next group. Watching the documentary, I was impressed at how young and talented they are at the future of K-pop. I love that they have a sound because they're not like everyone else in K-pop. Big Hit definitely spent a lot of money getting Cordis going. They did, and I think they got it right. I think they got this one right. I'm not saying that TXT and BTS are wrong. No, I'm not. I'm totally not saying that. I do think though that that Cordis is the perfection of the processes that they went through, both for TXT and for BTS. They wouldn't have been able to do, as I mentioned in the presentation, they wouldn't have been able to do all the things that they have done if it wasn't for the experience and the success of BTS and of course of TXT. Can't music transcend generations? Well, like BTS is transcending generations. The Beatles is transcending generations. So yeah, it can. And but I think it's just that because of their sound, I think it's very clear that their primary target market is the Alpha and Gen Z. It's just that I do think that they will hit the older generation because of nostalgia. Okay, live and learn from Cali with love. Okay, so let's update our, let's see where we are for Dynamite. We are at, we are about 50,000 here. We're about 50,000 over the target. We still need to push for about 100. I believe we need, for us to be safe, so they might shave it. We should be at about 200,000. So we need to have like 150,000 more streams before we get there. MJ transcended generations, correct. MJ transcended generations, still transcending generations, will continue to transcend generations. There will be future projects that can draw on the resources. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you have actually watched the documentary, But if you want to like really get into the process of how they create a track, like the actual creation of a track, it would be great. um yeah, and it's rare, even for like, even the producers that are working with them, they're all saying that it's rare for them to experience, to actually have the artist participate in that level. So even they are surprised. They're like 16 and 17 and they're all already doing this. Like they even admitted, like, oh, 16 and 17, were we that, like, were we that finesse, or were we that good already at 16 and 17? And all of them were like, nope. At 16 and 17, no, definitely not. Don't be mad, but I'm not a fan of Cortis. Oh, that's fine. I'm not a super fan yet, but I'm warming up to them. Just move to the US, to US for good, learn Korea, many haters. The streams are going strong. Okay, I thought that going to 28 was only if the group met the criteria that was put in place for BTS. Has TXT met the criteria to extend the age they can enlist to? No, but I think they're still young. What's the oldest? Oldest? Yeonjun, 1999 is his age. So he's still good. 99. So he still has uh oh 09, 19. Yeah, he still has 2 more years. I'm playing another video on my laptop before playing Dynamite again. Yeah, or change account. Yep, I get not being your cup of tea, but I believe this group's music will evolve. Thanks, everyone. I thought 28 was the extension. Thanks to the correction. Yeah. Okay. We are at 2 hours and one. I will do the misconception next time, which is good because I was planning on doing it on two parts anyway. So I'll do one. And then if you have questions that you want me to research on or verify, let me know. But these are just a compilation of the misconceptions about BTS. Like, yeah, just a miscon, like a lot of narratives that are going around are actually incorrect. um Jay, like for example, that thing about Jungkook signing up with Big Hit only because of RM was actually not wrong, but it's also not the whole story, right? Because the first person that gave him the idea to sign up to consider Big Hit was his father, and then he watched RM. So something like that, just a more accurate account of things. The others like to tease him about being born in the 1900s. He gives me matinee vibes, even though he's young. Ooh. Uh, okay, do you have questions before we go? I want to read more on the new chef of PR at HYBE. I hope I at the very least gave you an idea on, like, just how critical this step is for HYBE. It's a very, very important thing. Just the mere fact that they are openly planting seeds in the political arena, that's a huge thing. Huge. Okay, the Trabadoo show misconception. Okay, that's included. So let me know if there's any other misconception out there. I will verify and I'll come out with receipts. Um, yeah, so let me know. But I have some. It's about 12. I might build on it more, but initially I was planning to do it in two parts. So it's good. I'll just do it in one part next week. Not all Stray Kids have to serve Chan and Felix. Yeah, they're not gonna serve because they're not Korean. Um, okay. Yoon Jin was really destined since she's rejected twice, first by Produce and MHJ dissolving the Somo. Yeah, the second day in a row. From Kylie with Love, yes, they are too. Can you check on Big Hit trainee debt? I think Big Hit did away with that. They have to make it back before getting profit, but not debt. One misconception I'm interested in is the Hybe building. My understanding is that it's leased, not owned by Hybe. It is leased. It is leased. It's not owned by Hybe. The whole PR thing is sad. Play the game or pay the price. Yeah, but a lot of people. This is one of the things that I keep on emphasizing on businesses, especially if you want to expand. You need PR. It's not an optional thing. You do need to take care of the reputation of your. A lot of people think that PR is just a dispensable thing or whatever. It isn't. It's necessary, especially if you're going to become as big as Hype. If that is the plan, you do need that. And Hype didn't put a lot of attention in it, or probably they did. It's just that they didn't know that they were going to be this big. So this is actually a little too late for them to do this only now. Is late. They should have done this a long time ago. They should have done this a long time ago. And maybe they could have avoided all of the things that are happening right now. So, but it's the price that you have to pay for your success in a society like South Korea. But I'm not saying like the US is any better. It's the same thing. That's why the PR department in many of these big companies are very big, because that's part of what you do. I mean, just one of the quintessential example would be Will Smith. That slap that was heard all around the world. If he didn't have a strong PR team behind him, he'd be done by now. So the only reason he was kept, he wasn't arrested, well, primarily because the other guy didn't want to sue him, but or file a complaint. But also Melissa, his PR person, did a lot of work. Right after what happened, Melissa was on the floor. Melissa is his PR person, publicist. So she was on the floor. She was talking with people, making she was very visible. And that's what you get. Like all of these things that happened with Angelina Jolie, for example. Look at how different her image is today versus her image was. Like it's heaven and hell. Like it's a huge difference. And it's all because of PR. She's gotten rid of her PR now. She doesn't need it. But before that, this like you know PR is so important. Best job I've ever had and so much fun. It is fun, correct. Since Big Hit is separate from Hype, can we explore more how the PR will impact Big Hit groups? The separation sometimes seems clouded. Okay, actually, that's one of the things that I wanted to clear out in the misconception. Um, yeah, I'll talk about that. Why would Hype build when the building exists? Here's the future question. What does it mean that Big Hit is separate from Hype? Okay, just look at all the USA mishaps. They need good PR, correct? PR is the marketing. Is that a marketing or advertising expense? It's separate. PR is not the same as marketing. There are companies, especially if it's a small one, they would fuse it into one. And there certainly are marketing people that can do PR work. I'm one of them. So, um, but if you become like, for example, a PR director of a big PR firm or a big company, a big firm or a big corporation, you can't do both. Those are two different things. Marketing is and marketing and advertising, that's separate from PR. Marketing is also not just advertising. Is it possible to do PR without selling your soul? I'm sure the new guy will develop his strategies based on the personality of Hyde. Maybe he's already sold his soul. So that was the criteria. Let's already hire somebody who sold his soul. I'm kidding. AJ is a horrible woman on American. AJ is a horrible woman on American MHJ. Uh, okay. All right. So just send in your questions. I will add the questions that you just asked right now in the next week. And then I will be doing a live stream for my paid subscribers. So this Friday. So will PR company now help Hive? PR company. They bought a PR company for the US. They bought a PR company for the US. So they have that. They have that being taken care of in the US. They need somebody taking care of that in in the South Korea. All right, thank you. Just an update for our 1B. We have six. So we are at 2,066,501 so far. So congratulations. Let's keep on streaming until we get to about, well, just keep on streaming. The bigger the buffer, the better for us. Okay. No one invests in athletes on the rise, not those that have risen. Lying, Yuna Kim. All right. Bye, everybody. I'll see you for those the paid subscribers of YouTube and Patreon. I'll see you Friday, and then for the rest, I'll see you Monday.